right, I've had some time to think about things back here. I had a couple nights to think about it, and I think maybe going about it a little bit not quite the right way, or at least I think I've got a better way. So I've been, trying to fit things with those new wing pieces kind of fit in there. Right now, like the bottoms of my fenders aren't quite lining up. I think this one's about 1/2 inch high. I can't remember. But either way, this is the new thing, the new process is I'm going to take those little wing pieces out and I'm just going to focus on my fender fitment right now and getting them lined up. This one's kind of wonky and weird because there's like bolt hole here and a bolt hole here that aren't using the original bolts. I think the originals were like an M8. They're using like an M10. And I feel like just that little bit extra thickness in the bolt is making things a little bit wonky. So I think I've got to go and modify some of my the holes in the fender where the bolt goes through. Maybe slot them a little bit. And that might fix my fender alignment. Once I get them, sitting the way they need to be, I'll bolt them down and then we'll look at the wing pieces. So I probably won't talk as much in this episode because I think I probably talk a lot in this one, and it's fairly easy to follow what I'm doing here. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to fit those fenders in with the new wheel well sections that I'm trying to put in. And this was definitely more challenging than I probably anticipated it being, just because there's a lot kind of happening there. And I know I've said this before, lots of things happening in different areas, and you really have to just kind of like be mindful about what you're doing and making sure you're getting everything sort of set up and fit as you're going. And this is true for this area as well. You want to get your fender on, you want to get the rear deck lid on, and eventually that rear apron has to go on just to make sure that everything is fitting together. What I ended up doing, because I was struggling with this area, it was a head scratcher. Things were not always quite working out. I couldn't get my fenders to fit. And by fit, I mean, I want everything lining up at that back end. So when you think about the back end of a Volkswagen, it's very iconic. You want to get those lines right. So when I'm trying to fit those fenders, I'm trying to get them lined up with the rear apron. So that line at the bottom is perfectly just all lined up. And I struggled with that. I had a lot of, just frustrating afternoons kind of in the garage where things just weren't quite lining up, or putting in those wheel well sections. It just felt like it wasn't quite working the way I wanted it to work. And so I had to walk away and come back several times to just kind of clear my head and come back with it with fresh eyes. And it took a really long time. But I think in the end, what worked best was because I was so worried about getting those wheel well sections fit in, that the fender placement was being compromised. So eventually I switched my thinking, and I thought, okay, we are going to fit those fenders in, get them fit in, and then those wheel well pieces are going to fit in around what the fenders are requiring. And that ended up being the right approach. And I still needed to modify some things, and I still needed to just look at the big picture, because the other thing too is that even with the deck lid and the rear apron and the fenders, you also have to worry about because those are bumper mounts, you got to worry about the bumpers lining up straight and being level and all that sort of stuff. There's just a lot to consider. So as often as you're able to, just get everything together, put it all on, look at the big picture, and then go from there. Other than that, I don't have a lot of advice here, but just it's just one of those areas where you just have to kind of work through it. and I'm sure there's people out there who have done this and it's just gone perfectly smooth. But mine didn't go exactly smooth. It wasn't like a massive headache and things weren't like a disaster or anything, but it just took a lot of time fitting everything in and just getting it right. And if you're interested, come back to the next episode, because the next episode I'm going to be talking about the rear apron and making it a removable panel, which is really handy to do. So come back for that.
Oh.